Hello everyone, welcome to Project Stormgate. Now I basically discovered that if you attach tripwires, specifically the electric kinds, you can add other types, I just didn't have them on me at this point, you can get this lovely explosion with electricity and pieces of wood. The wood bursts out anyway, that's generally what it does. This is right at the start after you come out of All Mother Mountain. Basically you're made a seeker and the gate is blown open by the corruptor and the striders pour in. Now it makes this lovely explosion with rock, but if you add any sort of wire to that you can get some very nice effects with fire or with what I choose, electricity. Now this is a very old save, so I don't have any of the weapons, which is why I've only got the tripcaster, which is shock. So straight after that I got creative with the shock. I basically started doing vertical to see what sort of effects it would have in different places, in different areas, but it always must be attached to the door. If you want it to go off, it has to be attached to the door. Basically waiting for that explosion there and trying to time it, but I missed it by a little bit and I got this lovely stardust effect, which is really kind of nice. It like dusts the area around us, so I can just see all these like sparklies. The door obviously with the pieces of wood, the rock, the that's me trying to pause it desperately and then like pause and then I accidentally hit the map because I was in so much of a rush. I can't do claw, so unfortunately I have to like take my thumb off the pad each time, so it's a little tricky to get it straight away. I got this nice view of a strider, but in the end I decided I didn't want it. It's fairly nice, but you can get that again anytime. So I went back into it for another tryout. The loading screen on this one isn't as long as other loading screens, and this one was quite quick. It puts you back in the action very fast, so I didn't mind it so much. So this is me again, just doing it downwards, trying to time it perfectly. I believe it's this one, and yeah, one across. So I'm basically putting that one across so that I've got this nice sort of box, as it were. Now this one I believe I was facing the wrong direction, which is the other huge problem with this. I'm not facing forward, I'm facing to the sides, and getting her to line up and face forward, you have a very limited time to do this. And I just thought, well, maybe I can go back to the very start before I got to this point, set up first, and then do it. So because I didn't have anything else, I decided to create some fire traps and see if that would A, create a bit more brightness behind me with the little lights there, and B, if it would set off the fire charge. And then I discovered that you can actually attach the shock wires to the balloons later on, which was kind of useful, but right now I'm just trying to pepper all the way up the door. But as you can see, I haven't actually talked to Resh yet. He's still on the wall. You can see that little waypoint just above my head. Just setting the whole thing up. I thought that would be nice, like the toggle all the way up. You've got the fire at the bottom, the lightning. It should look nice, whatever happens. So I thought, let's just go with that. Then I skipped the cutscene, and maybe I shouldn't have done that. But you can see the traps on the bottom remain, but all my electricity cables went away. That's where I discovered you could tag the balloon, and I found that very interesting. This was a great shot, actually, because I managed to capture it. I've got pale blue on right now, and I've got this lovely effect with the lightning. I actually like that one, but there's two people trying to intervene and right in the way of my shot. Yeah, I could have tried to turn around and be like, huh, with them, but I kind of didn't. I liked that effect. It was perfectly aligned effect. If those two hunters hadn't been there, that would have been a very nice photo, I think. It would have really worked quite well. Unfortunately, they were still there. I decided to wait around and let the striders hit the fire to see if that would make quite a good effect. didn't really do it. It's just too bright a flare. I mean, maybe with less fire, and I did try that at one point, but even then, as soon as the striders hit it, unless you're further forward, it's not going to make the same effect. And if you're further forward, then you're not getting the wood flying. Plus, you've got to wait for the fact that the gate's already blown out by that point when the striders come in. So it's not really worth the balloons, except for the fact that you can anchor onto them. But it wasn't hugely effective. This one actually created the perfect explosion. I go for a little X on the door right by the hangers there, and then a final one which went a little too far across, I thought. Now I'm trying to pause it to get myself in position. That was a lovely explosion, perfectly framed up. Unfortunately, Aloy wasn't perfectly framed up. You can see she's looking a bit to the side. I try and change around her view and the camera, and it made for a nice photo, but I think just because of where I was standing, her stance was off, so it didn't look fully natural. So I wasn't 100% happy, because yes, I am a perfectionist. You probably realised that by now. But I put it into cross 3, and then I put a bit of sunlight in to highlight the red, which I really did like, but it wasn't 100% for me. Now I'm getting really creative. I'm using this little trap by there and a longer wire. Now when you do that, I want to see where the explosion happens. It seems to happen in the middle of the wire, so no matter how far a distance you put, the explosion of electricity will always go off in the middle and create that blue spark. It will always get the machine no matter where you are for machines, but for that effect of the blue spark, it's always in the middle, which is useful to know if you're setting these up, I think, because you want to know exactly how far away you want to put your wires to make the explosion of electricity where you want it to. This one came off quite nicely. You got the wood, you got the electricity, you got a few stones in there. I think I took a few of these. I took a lot of photos to be honest, but put it into cinematic like trailer mode there, and I just like that effect. Next I tried the other sort of trap just to make sure that that's a little bit less conspicuous. The balloon's always a bit conspicuous, and I think that can blend into the hunter behind. In case it's in shot, you can't really see it except for the red going up, and I think I can adjust everything around it to like hide it from view enough. As it happens, I couldn't, and you can still see the red no matter what I tried to do. I eventually just pulled it out of shot like that, but then of course I'm ruining myself because she's not perfectly framed behind the lightning, and as much as I adjusted it, it wasn't 100%. So I would say use the balloons or use the ground. If you really want to use balloons, you can. In the end, I didn't find them that effective, and I decided just to move on. And I then tried to use, just out of curiosity, see what it's like from the other side. I wasn't too worried about framing up for this shot. This was purely experimentation. If I got a good shot out of it, so be it. And I got this lovely creation of light here, which again you can see me trying to edge out that little trap in the left hand side. In the end, I think I adjust the border just so it can be taken out of frame. But that's a lovely, lovely explosion. You already got the wood coming out from the gate, but the gate hasn't fully gone at this point. This is the initial explosion of the trap going off where the gate's gone. Now you can see from there what parts of the gate explode. Now, no matter where you put the lightning on the gate, it will explode always when the gate goes. I thought maybe if you put it a little bit further up, sort of like when the gate goes, you can see some of the wood in place still at the very top there in the middle and down the bottom on the right. And I thought maybe by putting it there you would halt the explosion and delay it by a few seconds just to let more wood and stones go from the right to the left, but no, it won't. It doesn't do it like that. Physics doesn't work like that in the game. As soon as the gate blows, it goes. So you will get that lovely lightning effect, but it will be delayed on the on the gate explosion with a stone. So it wasn't great from that point of view, and I just basically wanted, again, I hit the map like a fool by mistake, and then of course once you hit the map and come back you get this dark effect because it takes a while to go back to bright mode, and that's actually included in the game, and it's showering sparks right now, and that would have been a nice shot, I think, but by the time it went back into light mode, it was far too late. So I just thought, right, stuff it, let's try again and move on to the next one. So this one, I believe I attached to the hut. Yeah, instead of using the trap, I just put myself at a distance so that I could use the hut. Just frame it up because you know it's going to happen in the middle, and I think I'm just about on point. Then you're just waiting for it. Yep, there it goes, and that's exactly where it sparks off. Always in the middle, always that fantastic explosion, nice and round, and you can put it on the background. So knowing that, you can sort of choose where the lightning explodes if you go from the middle of the gate to the campfire or to the ground. You can choose like where the explosion happens behind you, which is useful, but you don't have a lot of time here to frame it. You basically have to predetermine where you're going to plant your tethers before you get to this part, because when you do get to this part you'll have to know exactly where to put them and put yourself in the exact right place. But like I said, there is a very quick loading time on this section, so if you do mess up, it's not a huge wait for it to reload again. It was very quick and very fast paced on that sort of way of getting back into the action, because obviously this is a major cutscene and they want you to get on with the story. It's not a big save, it's not a long load. Look at this, it doesn't take as long as anything else. That's very quick in my book. So you need to know exactly where you're putting your things just right off the bat. So again, I'm using the fire. I want it a little bit higher up, that's why I did it there rather than on the floor. You can see that happened right behind my head there. That was nicely framed, but I missed it because I wasn't quick enough. But, you know, if you're doing this yourself and you want to time it better than I do, or you have a way of slowing down time on PC, I'm looking at you. But, yeah, it's a nice little... It gives you a little bit more height with the balloon, and you can always pull it out of frame a little bit if you're crafty about where you place them. So these got placed on the floor just because I wanted to come a little further down the bank and a little closer to the door. So that means I did have to sort of place her last minute, and I missed the initial explosion. But you notice on Aloy's face, she's got that surprised expression. Her eyes widen as soon as the impact hits. Now, if you're close to the gate, that will always happen. Her eyes will always widen. If you're further away, I don't think it does. I haven't really experimented too much with that, but I don't believe that's the case. I think it's just as soon as the gate blows, maybe her eyes widen wherever she is, but I've just noticed it when I was doing these photos. And it makes for a very nice expression on her face. It's shocked, she's alert. It's just a little bit better, I think, than some of... I mean, I like the photo mode on this as much as anyone else, but when you're putting expressions on her face, the coarse, the flat, puzzled and all that, I just don't think they come across that well. I'm sorry guys, but I just really don't like the facial expressions too much. So this makes for a nicer expression in my book. So again, you can see me putting very near, because I want to have a little bit more time to put Aloy where I want to put her, and then it's just pause and pause, and I got that lovely array sort of coming straight out the door there. But unfortunately it blocks her face, so I thought let's let it play out a little bit. I caught it very early. You can see the shock wires are still in place there, so this is literally the moment of impact, and I was very lucky to get this straight away. Got all the sparks that sort of move around in a circle as I'm twisting the camera. Those sparks are moving as well. But it was just a little bit too soon. I wanted that electric explosion, the wood coming out, the stones, the sparks of the door still in play there, but less so, and you've got that lovely hue of blue just in the background, just to frame it up against, and then you can just start adjusting the settings like you usually do, like I always do. Just put it where you want, adjust the border, adjust the frame, aperture, all of that stuff, anything, color, yeah, and just go through it step by step. I'll put my photos at the end of this because I got some brilliant photos. Thank you very much, because I really do like when I get good photos.
Us running in the meadow, just you.